How's it going, everybody? It's Z here with Six Pack Productions after a long hiatus with, as you can see, a bit of a low-tech setup as I had to purchase a new laptop. Unfortunately, the recording software didn't port over so well. So while I attempt to figure out the software and the camera situation, you get to deal with this low-tech setup, which is fine because my asset is talking anyways, and fortunately, the mic works as well as always. So, drinks up, gentlemen. Let's dive right into this. That's good. I've encountered a few videos lately about poly, being short for polyamory, that helped me sort of align some thoughts that I had myself, and for that reason, I'm going to throw my hat into the ring. This is a topic that's been on my mind now for a couple of years, after coming across more than one video or article from these left-leaning news outlets that don't attempt to hide their political leanings. So think Vice, The Guardian, Daily Mail, ones that tend to have hit pieces on YouTubers and, well, do human interest pieces on polyamorous relationships. And as I went through it, I noticed a couple of patterns emerging that have led me to the conclusion that if your girlfriend or fiance or wife suggests that you should open the relationship or try polyamory, you should really probably just dump her on the spot because it ain't going to go well for you. So, before I go into details, as you can see, I'm having a little drink for myself tonight. Trying something new, switching to rye. I've always been more of a bourbon guy, but I thought I'd change it up, and it's going pretty well. So, along with these pieces where I'm just sharing my thoughts, I am going to throw some more booze reviews into the channel, and I think this is going to be the first one that I'll probably do in the next day or two. Now, that quick advertisement's over with, let's dive into the meat of the topic. And this goes to a video clip, actually, that I found regarding poly, and basically the documentary crew for this brief coverage showing a couple that had been monogamous and now was going to be non-monogamous, which is often the case. And I've come across a few of these. I'm going to put links in the descriptions to the ones that I can find as good reference points, but it's really important that you be able to see the people involved to make sense of the whole situation, because number one, attractive people do not seem to be big fans of polyamory or the idea of being in a committed relationship without sexual exclusivity. In particular, it tends to be the girl is generally, from all conventional standpoints, undesirable. Whether she is overweight, whether she is older than what would be considered ideal in the dating marketplace, she is definitely not a 10, and that's fine. You know, if you're together with someone and you love each other, who cares? If you two find each other attractive, that's more power to you, basically. But, the idea that we should be in favor of poly as it gets this sort of push into the mainstream definitely shouldn't appeal to too many guys, because the tier of girl that's getting into this is not exactly a bunch of first-round draft picks, if you catch my drift. No. Indeed, in looking at it, it seems like everyone involved is weird, and I'm never going to show my phone about it, but I did download Tinder a couple weeks ago for, let's just say, pure research purposes. And every once in a while you come across a photo of a girl who says that she's in an open marriage or a poly relationship, and not really ever a knockout. Usually kind of a girl that you think might be using this whole poly thing, and more specifically the fact that you as the guy could be with her and also see other people, to sort of balance out the lack of physical attractiveness. Because remember, when it comes to what makes women attractive to men, it really just comes down to two things: her physical appearance and her availability. And if a girl is not the most attractive physically, she's going to make herself more available to try and improve her standing in the marketplace. So in this case, if she's not gorgeous by any stretch, she's going to say, you know what, you and I can see each other, and you can keep hooking up with other girls as a means of keeping a guy around who otherwise may not want to be with her for an extended period of time. Just something to keep in the back of your mind. And number two that I came across in looking at this video, it's always her idea to be polyamorous. It's never going to go a bit freeform here. It's never his idea to change the relationship from committed and monogamous to committed and non-monogamous. Because that's just not how guys think. See, guys enter into relationships to have access to the girl sexually. That's going to be reason number one. Anything else that keeps the guy around is going to come after that fact. And that's just the way things are. So, to him, if he wants to have access to other women, then it does imply that the girl he's with isn't satisfying those needs. And he's either going to cheat, which I'll admit I don't approve of. It's not my style, but I'm not going to pass too hard a judgment. But the alternative is he's just going to break up and be single. Because, again, all guys want is access to women sexually. And if the easiest way to do that is to not be in a relationship and go play the field, he's going to do that. But women are approaching dating from a different angle, and that is that they are looking to move upwards in a given socioeconomic hierarchy. To put it bluntly, they date up, never down, and only rarely laterally. This is called hypergamy. If you're watching this video, you've probably heard the term a million times and know exactly what it is. Maybe I'll do a For Dummies video later on. But suffice to say, men date women to get sex. Women date men to get resources and stability, mostly from a financial sense, but also from a cultural or social sense. And because of this, for a woman who wants to expand her options in the sexual marketplace, to break up with the guy she's currently dating means to abandon the commitment and stability and resources that she can access by dating him. So poly is this weird attempt to mimic men's first option, which is to be single and sow their wild oats, to use an old phrase, and mix that with hypergamy, attempting to have both the access to the commitment, but without the fidelity that comes with it, that has been part of the original social contract. And as a result, it doesn't look like a lot of these things are working. It seems like it does a lot more harm than good. And in particular, with the guys, it tends to lead to intense jealousy, from what I've seen, that can lead to anger building up. But if the guy's doing this because he thinks it's either that or the girl's going to leave him, he's probably already been beaten into the ground emotionally. And for the women, let me reset my thoughts here for a moment, because I'm starting to go on a tangent. So, item number one, I said I noticed about poly, is that it's never among conventionally attractive people. Item number two, that I see the pattern forming, is it's always her idea. But there's a third aspect, and it's really important. The girl always seems to think it's a great idea right up until he decides to take advantage of the situation. And then the whole dynamic changes in a fundamental way. Again, the video link in the description will help with that. I'm also going to include an old Reddit post that I love, and I'm going to summarize for you here, but by all means read it, because it's one of the greatest moments of the internet ever. Pardon me. So in this Reddit post, it is, I'll assume that everything being said is true, because we have no reason not to. A young girl, early 20s, has just finished school and had already made plans with her best friend, also a girl, to spend an extended holiday in Europe. Based on some of the language of the post, it looks like she's probably from the UK, so she was going to be spending time in France, Spain, Italy, Germany, some combination of those countries, Greece, Portugal, Switzerland, what have you. Yeah, I'd love to do it myself for a couple weeks. Now, as she's getting ready for this trip, she says that she has been dating a guy pretty seriously for a while, like a year and a half to 2 years, I believe, and they are cohabitating at this point. They share an apartment together. Now, she does not want to feel anchored to him while she's on this trip. And in particular, she talks about another girl she knows going on a similar trip, cheating on the boyfriend, and it destroying the relationship. And in her mind, the best solution to this is to suggest to the boyfriend that they open the relationship for the however many days she's going to be out of the country. And the guy's response is that he thinks it's an awful idea, but he's not going to fight. And there she is. She thinks she's figured it out. She's going to go, travel through multiple countries in Europe, meet cute boys with cute accents, and do whatever the hell she feels like. Until she finds out, a couple days into her vacation, that her boyfriend has had another girl in their apartment. Yeah. So, and with that information coming to light, she starts losing her mind and asks the internet, what do we do about this? How do I tell him to stop? How can I take it back? It was a bad idea. And the reason that this is one of my favorite Reddit moments of all time is that the collective force of the internet came crashing down on this bitch. All right? It was fucking glorious that nobody took her side and attempted to give her, serious advice of how to confront him, and said point blank, well, this is exactly what you wanted to happen. You wanted to remove the monogamous aspect of your relationship, and now, because he's exercising that privilege, and not just you, you're pissed. Ah, it's glorious. It's absolutely glorious, and I'll never stop enjoying it. And therein is point number 3. It's that women who suggest poly relationships assume that they'll be able to find a new guy on a regular basis and don't really expect their guy to exercise the option. There's a couple reasons for this. Number one is, simply put, it's really easy for a woman to find random sex compared to a guy. It's infinitely easier for her. That's why a girl having a notch count of 100 isn't as impressive as it coming from a dude. The second reason, though, is that there's a sense of dread. She knows that she suggests poly as a way to both explore her sexual desires for lack of a better term, alpha-type men, but doesn't want to risk losing the commitment and resources that she has from the current boyfriend. So by exercising this option, she's able to simultaneously satisfy both sides of her hypergamy. But as soon as the guy takes advantage of this, even if it's just one other girl, it brings to light the downside that a lot of women ignore when they're suggesting this, which is that if he finds a girl who is a superior option to her in any sort of way, it now still risks the commitment and the resources. I mean, the only alternative would be for a woman to just point blank ask the guy, hey, can I cheat on you this weekend if I have the opportunity? And of course that's never going to play. That's why they call it poly instead of going for like the hall pass or anything like that. The hall pass where your significant other just gives you permission to step outside the relationship for a short period of time. Because it would be, basically it would be absurdly hypocritical for them to do that. And even, the mental gymnastics that it takes to make poly sound like a good idea, you still hit that wall of, well, he has to do it too. But also, that's the enticement. And that's where you have to be really careful. That's where this all comes together as you're watching this. And you got to be really careful, is women use the promise of polyamory to entice men into agreement by saying, well, you can just find other girls too. Here's the problem. If the girl is suggesting an open relationship to you and it wasn't open from the start, it means she's really doubtful that you're actually going to find any strange. And that contributes to the shock to the system that these girls experience when you do get a date with somebody else. When you don't come home that night on Saturday because you found something else to do. So just skip it, guys. Poly is an attempt by women to have every single ideal situation of different types of relationship statuses simultaneously. It is, as I put it in the chat room of another YouTube video where I came up with it, it is the ethanol of relationships. It is the solution that's pushed forth by more and more by the mainstream and by people who really do not have your best interests in mind. And somehow all of it ultimately just benefits people in the Midwest growing corn. I don't know. It always comes back to a corn racket. But that's it. Really, those are my thoughts on polyamory, at least in the context of a brief rant while I prepare to get intoxicated before Saturday night out. Up to that one more drink. Delicious. Gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe, the YouTube basics. As I'm getting back into this and looking for new equipment, please leave a comment in the video if you have any ideas for something that I could do better or a topic that you would like to be discussed. And anything that you think can improve the channel, because this is just one new step as I basically reboot things, and hopefully we can make this work and hopefully help some people along the way. So, guys, this is Z here, again, Six Pack Productions. Peace out.